Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the News Round Up show, talking about all the things that have happened in Major League Soccer over the last 7 days. Right, starting with Nigel De Jong of LA Galaxy. We all saw the challenge last week on Darlington Nagbe of Portland Timbers. At the time, De Jong received a yellow card for the challenge. It was a nasty challenge, let's be honest. It was a straight boot on the ankle of Nagbe. Nagbe had to leave the pitch, of course, injured. Fears that he may have broken something or damaged ankle ligaments. Apparently, it's just a sprain. He's got some contusions on his legs, but we're not sure just how long he'll be out, but it isn't deemed as being serious at the moment. So that's great news for Portland Timbers fans, great news for MLS fans. As for De Jong, he is still waiting the outcome of his ban. Rumours, the first couple of days there was hysteria. People were talking about a 10-game ban. That's now down to rumours of a 3-match ban, which potentially would be about right. It looked a naughty challenge from De Jong on Nagbe. And I reckon probably 3 games is about enough for that kind of challenge. But we'll have to wait and see what MLS officials come up with. But at the moment, the rumour is Nigel De Jong will receive a 3-match ban for his challenge on Darlington Nagbe. Just as a side note to the De Jong thing, talking about it, people are asking about what the difference will be over here in the UK. The way it is in the Premier League, if the referee has seen a challenge and booked the player for it, that's it. There's no kind of, it's almost a double jeopardy situation. So he's been booked and that's it. Nothing else can be done about it. It probably, I don't know, I think it probably would have been the end of it, but people would have been made aware of the challenge. I think referees would mark De Jong's card over here, so the next one he would get no leniency at all. It would be a straight red card. But you know, this is the slight differences in how games and leagues are refereed. But that's the way it will be for De Jong. But of course, we're still waiting to see just how long his ban is. Another side from last week is there's still some kind of fallout from Tranquillo Barnetta's tremendous free kick, which was the winning free kick against Orlando City last Friday night in Philadelphia. It inflicted Orlando City's first defeat of the season. It was right at the death, 91st minute. And the Pro have come out, the referees organisation have come out and said the goal should actually not have stood because of players offside and interfering with Joe Bendick's sight. And the goal, it shouldn't have stood according to their rules. Obviously, people are outraged with this. Orlando City fans, rightly so, disappointed with it. I profess I'm an Orlando City fan. I think how much of an influence did those players have on Bendick's view? If the referees organisation is saying the goal shouldn't have stood, fair enough, the goal shouldn't have stood. I've got to be honest, I said it last week as well, or rather I said it in the match reaction show, that I didn't really have much of an issue with it. It was just a brilliant free kick, but nothing anybody could have done about it. It was the top corner, whether players were there or not. I don't think Bendick's getting it anyway. It was just a brilliant free kick. But listen, you know, the organisation have come out and I've said it shouldn't have stood, so there you go, it shouldn't have stood. I've seen a few things where people are saying give Orlando City a point. Obviously leave Philadelphia with their points, but give Orlando City a point. No, let's not start messing with the rules in terms of how points are given out and start saying, yeah, well, that goal shouldn't have been accounted, so therefore you can have an extra point, because, you know, we'll look back, Orlando City, but that's 2 they've had against them so far this season. You can look back to day 1 against Real Salt Lake when Kyle Larin scored within the opening 6 or 7 minutes, and it was deemed offside wrongfully. So they've had a double whammy already, Orlando City. But like I say, for me, I'm not sure how much interference there was in Bendick in terms of the free kick. But listen, the organisation, referees organisation, have said it shouldn't have stood. I'm happy to go with that. So Philadelphia, count yourself lucky that you've been given the 3 points for that game. Staying with this week's action, Chris Wondolowski scored his 5th goal of the season this week against New York Red Bulls, taking his all-time record to 114 MLS goals. He is now tied with Ante Razov as 4th all-time scorer, chasing down Landon Donovan's 144 goals. Can Wondo do it? He is certainly a goal scorer for San Jose. If you give him half a chance, he normally takes it. He's at a good age. He's only 30 goals behind Landon Donovan. If he has another good season this season, I think he scored 18 last season. If he has another similar scoreline, goal return this season rather, it could leave him, one season behind Donovan, if you want to look at it like that, for Wondolowski's abilities and finishing, records. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he can chase down that Landon Donovan record. But he has moved into joint fourth place in the MLS all-time goal scorers list. So Chris Wondolowski, well done, son. One of the craziest stories from the last 7 days has been the fallout at New York City. This was involving a video that Mikey Lopez and Kiri Shelton were involved in. Basically finished training, walking through from the boot room, talking about the snow outside, being from Texas, they're not used to it, and then said, we're getting ready for Sunday's game against and they had a little bit of who we playing again, and who is it? And I think Shelton says Chicago, and they're like, well, we don't really care as long as we get the W, we want to get the win, but it's all good and we'll catch you later. And that was it. And some people deemed that as disrespectful to Chicago Fire, and some of those people who deemed it disrespectful was New York City coach Patrick Vieira, who felt that the both players should be suspended for the game out of a mark of respect for Chicago. And trying to put some kind of discipline in place. I kind of understand where Vieira's coming from in terms of you've got to have club rules, you've got to have discipline, but for me, I think it was an overreaction. I think two young lads going, who are we playing again? Doesn't matter, but as long as we get the win. Yeah, I think the punishment was a little bit excessive. I can kind of see what Vieira's driving at in terms of club rules. Got to be careful not to go too far, of course, because then it alienates people. But listen, just looking from the outside, I just thought it was two young lads finishing training and having a little bit of a mess around on the way out to the car, to go home. And that was all it was. And I'm quite sure that's all Chicago Fire thought it was. But anyway, Patrick Vieira deemed it disrespectful. Both players were suspended for the game. And let's hope they just put all this to bed and move on. Sticking with New York City and a young player, young Jack Harrison, a prospect from the UK. A UK player that actually might play, unlike Frank Lampard, who was seen this week over in the UK filming Pointless, which is a game show that, without offending too many people, isn't that far away from its name. But Jack Harrison has been out with injuries. Some footage have emerged this week of him training again, looking nice and sharp. And it's caught the imagination of the New York City fans wanting to see what this lad has got to offer. So hopefully it won't be too much longer before we see an Englishman donning the shirt of New York City and putting in a fine display. And I'm not just talking about Frank Lampard. Let's hope we see Jack Harrison. I reckon we're going to see Harrison before we see Lampard, if truth be known. But I'm going to be looking out for this young man, and let's see what he can bring to this New York City side. If you remember on last week's news roundup, I spoke about the game growing in the United States. We talked about Oklahoma Energy and the interest that they're getting. I've just got some attendances from FC Cincinnati for their inaugural game at the weekend. 14,658 people packed in there, which is an incredible amount of people, really. Miami FC attracted 10,156 for their inaugural game against Tampa Bay Rowdies. And San Antonio, first home game, attracted 8,500 fans. So, listen, under MLS, there is life. People might not want you to believe that, but that just shows for me. They're just, listen, all over the country there will be attendances like this. Up in Canada as well, not forgetting Canada as well, where football, soccer is really well supported. But I've just, them three stats, jumped out at me this week, just showing the popularity of the game is growing, and underneath Major League Soccer as well. So it's fantastic to see that the United States and Canada really, really growing the game of football / soccer over there. And fantastic for the future, really, and long may it continue, and long may those attendances grow. Moving on, one story this week that kind of done the rounds. Ian Darke pouring petrol onto the fire of a possible move by German United States coach Jurgen Klinsmann to my club, Everton. No thank you, no thank you, no thank you. Bizarre rumours really. I think it's basically Roberto Martinez is under a lot of pressure at Everton, and rightly so, in all fairness, this season, and quite a few managers have been linked with the job now. You know, people like Jose Mourinho, Frank de Boer, Mark Hughes, these kind of people. And Jurgen Klinsmann was the next one to jump into that ring, that hat, where people throw the hat in. Ian Darke saying, you know, he's heard strong rumours that Klinsmann will be joining Everton in the summer. Jurgen Klinsmann has totally and utterly denied this. Yes. Sorry, United States fans. Sorry that you thought you were getting rid of him. Do not inflict them on me. I can't understand why Ethan Finlay, Lee Wynn, these kind of players don't play regularly. You know, Benny Feilhaber don't play regularly for the United States. I don't want to be having the same conversations next year about why the likes of Gerard Deulofeu doesn't play more games for Everton. So, Jurgen, you can stay where you are, or go and take a different job, you know, and get a different manager in to manage the USMNT, someone who knows how to play other players than his favourites. But as far as that story is concerned, that is a no thank you to Jurgen Klinsmann. Stay where you are. Following on from the German link, Borussia Dortmund midfielder Christian Pulisic, obviously United States player, young player. You know, Thomas Tuchel has said this week that Pulisic is very much part of the first team squad now. This is a kid with a big future, it looks like. Saw some footage of him when he played against Schalke. Unbelievable footwork, you know, young kid, great technique. This is what we want to see. We want to see young American players really developing that technique, that ability to take a ball in difficult areas, get away from people, the ability to read a game, open up a game. And Pulisic looks as though he's got all of that in abundance, playing in a fantastic Borussia Dortmund side, although they let me down last night losing to Liverpool. But no, in all seriousness, Pulisic looks a really, really good prospect, and this is what United States needs. It needs more of this level, these young players with big technique, big quality and big hopes to carry the United States team onto the next level. We've already seen the likes of Matt Meisiger making his debut for Chelsea last week and having a really good game. And so this is what we want to see. We want to see some new blood, and Pulisic is absolutely fantastic, and he looks a real prospect. And let's see how he develops there at Dortmund. But like I say, Thomas Tuchel saying Pulisic is well and truly part of their first team squad now. And see how much game time he actually gets over the next coming weeks of the season. Talking about young American prospects, Fulham's Emerson Hinman scored the winner in stoppage time the other night. Of course, young American player as well. He has helped Fulham out of the relegation zone with that winner. So again, it's another one. We just spoke about Pulisic, we're talking about Meisiger, we're now talking about Hinman as well. And this kid has allegedly been watched by Manchester United and Liverpool. So again, that's another player, another string to the United men's team bow, is that they can produce these kind of players, these young players. You know, we're still waiting for Jordan Morris to catch fire really at Seattle. I'm sure he will do. He's another young prospect. Looks as though he's got a big career ahead of him. So it's all good for American soccer. And, you know, Hinman, like I say, scored a very important goal for Fulham there and helping the Cottagers move out of the relegation zone. Moving on, club I follow, Orlando City. Some footage emerged this week of Lions boss Adrian Heath going down with Phil Rawlins to the site of the new stadium. It's really taking shape in downtown Orlando there. It looks fantastic. Obviously, Orlando City playing their games at the Citrus Bowl this season, but will move into their new premises from next season. And it's going to be fantastic, albeit a little bit small. They've had 60-odd thousand last season in the Citrus Bowl. They had 62,000 again this season against Real Salt Lake. They regularly get crowds of over 30-odd thousand. And this stadium, I believe, is only going to hold 25. So I'm expecting it's obviously going to be full every single week, but it's going to be very difficult to get a ticket. But just looking at the pitches now, it's coming along. fantastic. It looks like an English ground, the way it's being designed. So I wonder if it's still going to have... Well, all I can think of is English grounds are great. With Orlando City fans and the atmosphere they generate, it should be an absolutely fantastic thing to be part of. And I will definitely be visiting that new stadium next season to catch a Major League Soccer game in Florida. Final piece of news this week involving this weekend's games and two big players about to make their first appearances of the season. One making his debut for his new team, the other making his second appearance, but kind of his first appearance, because his first one was a bit rubbish and it was a little bit of a cameo. I am talking about Didier Drogba and Jermaine Jones. Drogba, who of course came out and said he wouldn't be playing on AstroTurf anytime soon due to a problem that he has in his knee when he plays on it. 4 of Montreal Impact's first 5 games were all on AstroTurf. The only one being in Dallas when Drogba had a little cameo role, so he's not been available for Impact, who have made a good start, to be fair, without him, but he definitely makes them better. Of course he does. He's a top player. He proved that last season with his 12 goals in 14 games, I think it was, when he came in. So he's back in. He's been training all week. He is back in the squad and possibly back in the side at the weekend. And Jermaine Jones, his ban is up. He moved from New England Revolution to Colorado Rapids. He had a 6-match ban hanging over him. That is now finished. The last game of the ban was in Colorado's win at Sporting Kansas City in a week. So Jermaine Jones is free to make his Colorado Rapids debut this weekend, and it's going to be very interesting. They have been brilliant. They're currently 5th in the Western Conference, but they have looked so well organised. And I just think Jones is going to make them even better. It's going to make them even stronger. That defensive midfield role, just sitting in front of that back four, they look well organised. When Tim Howard arrives there next month, or early June, excuse me, he's going to make them better. Kevin Doyle still to come back in, although Solignac up front is doing really well. Marco Papa has been brilliant, and Gashi obviously got his first goal of the night. So if you're a Colorado fan, this season so far has been a pleasant surprise, I should imagine, after last season. I've been pleasantly surprised with what I've seen from them, and Pablo Mastroeni's men, listen, they can get better and better. It's going to be very interesting, but Jermaine Jones available to make his Colorado Rapids debut this weekend, and that should be a big thing for Colorado. So let's wait and see how he gets on. Okay, that's the news all round up. Don't forget to give us a subscribe wherever the subscribe button is. Give us a follow on Twitter at the MLS Show. Like us on Facebook. Share us. Tell your mates about us. Keep supporting us. Keep watching. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below about any of the topics or anything you think I should have been mentioning. Let me know, and maybe we can put it in next week's show as well. Look out for that. Look out for the main shows are back next week. Took a break this week. We're going to have them back. Ped will be in the studio with me on Monday and a couple of other guests while we chew the fat over the weekend. And I'll catch you next time on the MLS Show. Received the yellow card for the challenge. It was a nasty challenge, let's be honest. It was a straight boot on the ankle of Nagbe. Nagbe had to leave the pitch, of course, injured. Fears that he may have broken something or damaged ankle ligaments. Apparently it's just a sprain. He's got some contusions on his legs, but we're not sure just how long he'll be out, but it isn't deemed as being serious at the moment. So that's great news for Portland Timbers fans, great news for MLS fans. As for De Jong, he is still waiting the outcome of his ban. Rumours, the first couple of days there was hysteria. People were talking about a 10-game ban. That's now down to rumours of a 3-match ban, which potentially would be about right. It looked a naughty challenge from De Jong on Nagbe. Welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz, here for the News Round Up show, talking about all the things that have happened in Major League Soccer over the last 7 days. Right, starting with Nigel De Jong of LA Galaxy. We all saw the challenge last week on Darlington Nagbe of Portland Timbers. At the time, De Jong, I reckon probably 3 games is about enough for that kind of challenge, but we'll have to wait and see what MLS officials come up with. But at the moment, the rumour is Nigel De Jong will receive a 3-match ban for his challenge on Darlington Nagbe. Just as a side note to the De Jong thing, talking about it, people are asking about what the difference would be over here in the UK. The way it is in the Premier League, if the referee has seen a challenge and booked the player for it, that's it. There's no kind of, it's almost a double jeopardy situation. So he's been booked and that's it. Nothing else can be done about it. It probably, I don't know, I think it probably would have been the end of it, but people would have been made aware of the challenge. I think referees would mark De Jong's card over here, so the next